What's good YouTube? And welcome to the house. If I look a little bit crazy because I've just rolled out of bed, Rise of the Duelist is going insane. Nadir Servant has passed triple tactics talents, other shifts are happening, Forbidden Droplet way atop the set now. But first, I want to thank you guys for slamming that join button. You may notice way more people with the Godzilla badges down in the comments section below. They're financially supporting directly, and it's mostly because of the live streams. It's people who regular there. But I do like how YouTube actually has the system to where they kind of give these people the extra badges on the comment section, and to give back a little more to you guys giving back to me. I went ahead and had Kraus Arts do emotes as well, and they're finished. We have OK Boomer Goat, we have Eater of Millions of Dollars, we have You've Activated My Trap card, Thick Grin Maju, as well as Cursed RNG. Maybe we'll get Blessed RNG with Graceful Dice in the future, but I had this part and time where I was just kind of coasting, and you could definitely feel that in the channel, I think. And throughout the past year, I've definitely worked harder on my content, being able to talk fluidly, working on myself, and now working on what's around me. For those that have been here for the ride, thank you for waiting on me. Thank you for like putting that kind of, okay, he's gonna get there eventually, faith in me. And I feel like I really am. I'm starting to work on myself even more again, in terms of like physically, and I've been really enjoying making videos and the streams a lot more, and it's just kind of building this house around, I know, pun on the thing, of better and making sure things get better in my life. It's kind of this moment that's reflected into these, and these turned out way better than I thought they could have. Thank you so much, Kraus. You become such a staple in facelifting the community as a whole, and I really love what you've done for me here. That being said, let's get into today's Market Watch. Nadir Servant is a 3 of within the Dogmatica. It's a searcher. If we compare it to the Unchained searcher rose to the top. We should have seen this coming, and a deck that really doesn't have a boss, but instead is just this consistent, like, beastly deck. And then you see that Ecclesia's up in price, and a lot of people are shocked by that. Let's break out the handy dandy calculator here to explain some ratios real quick. You only pull 2 secret rares per box, and there's 12 boxes within a case, but there are now 10 secret rares. So on average, a full case, $720 before we get to the upped price of Rise of the Duelist, are producing about every other case. One case will have 2 of the secret rare, one will have 3 before we even top clumping and what's going to happen in certain areas for certain locals. So every other case should have about a playset of the secret, while others will not even have the playset. Now with ultra rares, things changed as well. You're still pulling 4 ultra rares per box. There's still 12 boxes in the case, but now there are 14 ultras, meaning one case will have 4 Ecclesia and one will have 3, just a playset out of $720. And while we have 3 chase cards here, this is unheard of. 3 cards above $60 right now, with triple tactics kind of riding the hype wave, Nadir Servant and so many people hunting down this archetype, and then Forbidden Droplet. I played with that last night. I think this is an amazing card. The You Can't Respond part in Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that is bonkers. These 3 cards are kind of vying for the top spot, with Nadir Servant now in the conversation, passing Tactics. And Tactics, as it's been explained to me, usually when you're playing this card, you're losing. That's what feels bad about it, and why it needs so much power. You can't really go too aggressively. I guess you can punish a hand trap, but usually something bad has happened to you to activate this, and then it gets negated sometimes too. So with these 2 cards, and a card with the power of 3 banned cards atop the set, you have the rest not necessarily falling out. Like, yes, this was going to be natural. Dogmatica, I told you guys, 2 cards would either stay or rise up in price, while the rest would fall out, and these are falling out. Now, let's get into an interesting conversation about Fleur-de-Lis that isn't necessarily relevant now, but could be in the future. He is probably the best Magician Souls target. I had this kind of argument, and I am convinced all you need is a monster from the extra deck to summon this. You don't need to pitch a card like Apprentice Illusion. You don't need to tribute summon like the other one out of the Megatons, I think, mana. When it comes to this card, All you need to do, let's say you drew him with souls, summon souls, use her effect, turn it into Link Rebo. Wow, this can be summoned and it's a 2500 body on board. You don't have to pay attention to all the Dogmatica effects. It's probably the best one to draw now. So in future metagames, this could become relevant for different reasons until a better Magician Souls target is made, especially if Magician Souls gets reprinted but Legendary Duelist is cursed. Off of the tangent, Ecclesia is up in price because she's the 3-of, she's the waifu, as well as the fact that, like, she's the face of the deck, but ultra rares are harder to get, almost as hard as secret rares. There's barely a difference. It's just that in all these other sets, the secret rares are taking so much of the top heavy part that the ultra rares are falling out. Now, we have a ton of good ultra rares, a ton of good secret rares in this set. You do need to play Titaniclad over in that deck. Odd Eyes Revolution Dragons and good them, like, is good in more than just pendulums. And then, like, Ice Dragon's Prison, this card's crazy. Shadol's Schism, you're gonna be seeing this in a lot of decks. The Infernoble Knights are cheap, they're steals, so the rest of the Infernoble Knight stuff's going up. This set is incredible. Also, there's a conversation of Fallen of Albaz is a very good penny stonk, because they keep printing more fusions, and if they make an actually good fusion to use with him, he is just going to skyrocket in price in the future, so you could be gambling versus what they're going to print. Oh, also not to mention the Chaos Rule. This set as a whole has amazing card creation. Phantom Rage is going to be similar. Eternity Code was similar. After changing the ratios, Konami has put in work to make sure that the products have been worth what they're actually forcing you to chase after. They've done a really good job of balancing it and making you want more cards, and wow. So how do you approach this? A lot of people were waiting for this weekend. They were expecting prices to go down. Pre-sales never do anything. Everybody always overpays. It's as I tell you. Make your choices. About 3 cards will go up or be really good buys at pre-sales. What happened? Droplet's gone up, Nadir Servant's gone up, Ecclesia's gone up. 3 cards have gone up versus their pre-sales and seem pretty good to have now, don't they? And the problem that's going to be created from what's happened is a ton of people are now going to sit back and be like, okay, when it falls to this price, I'll go ahead and get. When Nadir Servant's back to 50, I'll pay 150 for that playset. I'll go ahead and wait, and then you're going to have people line up at 60 as well. So it may not fall back to that 50 because so many people are going to line up with a price in their head that they know they're willing to pay. Same with Droplet, same with pretty much the chase cards and this archetype. A ton of people are looking to play Dogmatica, and you don't have events IRL right now. This still has a Mega 10 clock versus next year, but a lot of people speculate we'll be playing in events at some point next year, so they are trying to get this archetype early. Even without that argument of events versus no events, this set was going to be expensive. It was shorted, and when it comes to the Starlights, that means these are even crazier to watch because we know there's less of these Starlights than the others, and Konami doesn't reprint first edition product. That's why it's first edition. So again, there's going to be a crazier market up here versus what's already happening down with the rest of the set. Oh boy, things are really wild out here. So my advice is, you are kind of playing the game of know your price, know what you're good with if you're looking for things. Keep paying attention to the quantities over the next 2 weeks. We will see some fallout, but we're going to see people kind of en masse once a price hits a certain place, go back in, causing it to naturally spike rather than it being a couple of people with deep pockets or rogue buyouts. That tends not to happen with core sets. It's going to be people naturally waiting, deciding to go in, and taking the cards they want. I'm really lucky. All I want from here is Fluffles till I see the Tri Brigade, and then I can cry along with you guys once Tri Brigade gets its boosted rarities and is really pushed in when it comes to Phantom Rage. Man, things really turned out wild for this set. It's crazy. A couple of buyouts that have happened / penny stonks, and for Noble Knight, he's bought out. This one's kind of head scratching. Never got a reprint for the secret rare besides the good old platinum rarity, which a bunch of people detest. I don't think it looks that bad, but that's also towards $10. Elder Entity is sitting at 5, and people are saying, oh, it's going to skyrocket, it's going to go up. I actually agree at this point. After playtesting a bit more heavily last night in the current format, not only against the Dogmatica, so you want it in your extra deck to help you against them, is good in it and against it, and when you have that kind of a situation, you start kind of teching things into your extra deck and making space for it. Daigusto Phoenix dual terminal is only $5, and if I recall, the secret rare version is very cheap as well. Whenever we start talking about rank 2 decks such as the Melfi and other things like this start to get looked at, the quantities are very low, but it's at one of its cheapest points in history. It's gone up towards $20 multiple times. Maybe if you like this card, you've been waiting and you didn't know, this is a price definitely to get it at, using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. Also, a kind of fun fact about this card with like beast decks and that kind of stuff, and how they transition towards Samorg, is this can target any face-up wind monster, so you could do something like poking that Samorg and making it able to go in twice and stuff like that. So it actually has more use than you might have thought for when it comes to, you know, what you're playing. Then also Lopter is an amazing penny stock, but it is kind of going up. We saw this available at 50 cents, now back towards $1, back more towards its market price. You're not seeing those lower listings anymore. They're starting to disappear, so do be aware. This is, people are paying attention to the fact that you can tag out that I keep calling her the Forbidden Maiden. I know it's not Maiden. It's like the witch. One second. Forbidden. I know that I should have this name on deck when it comes to Market Watch, because she's been, it's like Forbidden Witch, I believe. But she has ended up, oh man, it be like this. The one that searches droplets, okay? We know who I'm talking about. She who shall not be named. But she's been towards $10 to $11 for a while, and then can tag into Lopter after searching droplets, which is pretty big for the deck. And finally, Nirvana High Paladin has still not gotten a reprint. He's floated around this price for a while, but is almost completely out of quantities. So if this is a cover card you've thought about getting for some time, and you're not going for the OCG Ultimate Rare as I hand out on my Patreon, well, yeah, he's slowly creeping up there and out on prices. So if you're a collector, you can do something like collect all the cover cards, because that actually is pretty cheap for most things. This is an interesting pickup that has just been rising over time. That being said, what do you guys think of how Rise of the Duelist is panning out? It's wild. It's truly like nothing we've seen, and I think if we had events, things would actually go down. Let's actually do the final piece of a deep dive here. If we had events, let's say a vendor has 3 Nadir servants and they're not flying off the shelf, and someone comes up and it's like, I want them, but they're a bit much. Well, right now, that's $72 times 3 that he is selling them for online, right? But he's gonna take some fees. So that would be 13% fees, and then he has to do some shipping. So he would be taking closer to $60 a piece online, to where in person he might go, okay, go ahead and take them for $65 a piece. He makes more money, doesn't have to risk them in the mail, and the person that's buying feels like they got hooked up. If we had events, millions of dollars during that day moves in that room. Millions, like that's not an exaggeration. Within those 3 days between the vendor's booth and the entire floor, millions of dollars move. And I think right now we're choked into using TCG player, eBay vendors, and this online sphere of everyone relying on online that wants Yu-Gi-Oh cards is causing prices to actually be up overall. Yes, events cause card prices to spike a bit, but overall, it makes cards way more accessible to many more people that wouldn't have to rely on TCG Player or eBay as a venue. So I do look forward to that future, but for now, when you're looking at this kind of stuff, you're kind of stuck playing a game of, when do I go in? What do I want to go in for? And what's going to happen? Over the next 2 weeks, we will see the fallout, but you could even see some higher prices in that time.